Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is a silly movie with a silly premise and silly characters, and it has no right to be one of the best animated movies of all time, but it is. But what can this food-themed film teach us about social media? Cloudy came out in 2009. It's a delightful and stylized comedy film that, despite its screwball premise of a machine that causes food to fall from the sky, it turned out to be a more emotional and deeper film than anyone expected. The story centers on Flint Lockwood, a young scientist who is determined to become a great inventor despite his many failures, like spray-on shoes that he cannot remove. Actually, how does he cut his toenails? Welcome to Eddache, where we ask the real questions.
But then Flint invents a machine that accidentally causes it to rain food, which makes everyone happy until the food starts to get bigger and bigger and it nearly destroys everything.
But this has nothing to do with social media, right? It came out after Twitter and Facebook launched, but well before they became the terrifying election-influencing juggernauts that they are today. Well, yes, that's true, but this wonderfully weird movie about giant food has a lot more depth under its crust. So, before we tuck into this movie, if you're looking to change some bad habits for your New Year's resolution, then perhaps consider this video's sponsor, Fabulous. Fabulous is the #1 self-care app to help you build better habits and achieve your goals. Let's face it, people tend to bail on any New Year's resolutions within the first couple of months. Maybe even the first couple of minutes.
It's so hard!
But with Fabulous, it helps build a daily planner and break down your New Year's resolutions like exercising more, eating healthier, and better sleep into smaller and easier to manage tasks to guide you along your life-changing goals. Think of it like doing a puzzle. You don't do the whole thing at once, but you focus on one piece at a time.
It's so hard!
You can create daily routines throughout the day and set optional reminders, and it will provide you with coaching and challenges, all personalized to your requirements and at your pace. So start building your daily routine with Fabulous today, and the first 100 people to click the link in the description will get 25% off a Fabulous subscription. Hey, that rhymed.
It's so easy!
Thanks, Fabulous, and now back to the video.
So, where were we?
There's something about Flint that I just find hugely relatable.
Can you keep a secret?
No.
He's got this streak of optimistic perseverance despite not being the greatest in his field, combined with a lot of social awkwardness. I feel seen. Please stop looking at me. But perhaps more so, he's constantly seeking validation.
Aren't you proud of me?
When it comes to validation, it's not unreasonable to want approval. Even as children, we look to our parents for recognition.
Here, Sister, I made a picture.
Wow! I'll put it here. Here's the thing! Art is not a job!
This gives us confidence, like we're on the right track to then experiment and grow.
Can I count on your help?
Can.
I knew I could.
These are normal and helpful things, but an unhealthy relationship with validation creates a dependency on it. Since the loss of Flint's mother, Flint's father is unable to connect with his son. He can't give the validation Flint needs because he is unable or unwilling to understand. A similar theme we see in the Lord and Miller produced The Mitchells vs. the Machines, Into the Spider-Verse, and even the Lego Movie, all featuring a loving parental figure who struggles to communicate and connect with their kids. And if there's no support from those closest, we may seek that missing validation from other places instead. After a series of mishaps, Flint's machine creates food rain, an accidental success, but Flint takes the W anyway. The town turns him into a local celebrity, the ego boost he has always wanted. Townspeople start requesting specific food, and in order to maintain the constant approval,
Yes.
he agrees, despite being aware of the dangerous levels of stress he's causing the machine. He is suppressing his own sense of preservation for the benefit of pleasing others. Even when his father tries to warn him that what this machine is doing is clearly an accident, that Flint barely has control over it, and the food is now growing out of hand, Flint shuns him. It's clear it comes from a place of love, but because he's never given Flint any approval, any disapproval now just pushes Flint further and further into dangerous territory, which clouds Flint's perspective.
Who needs the approval of one family member when you can have it from millions of acquaintances?
Social media has made the need for validation arguably much worse, with views and thumbs up and interactions. Smash that like button, please. I need this. It becomes a game of number go big, yummy yummy serotonin.
Steve.
You get constant notifications.
It's like a reward.
And it gives you that confidence and ego boost. And if it's giving you all the constant approval you need, if you're not careful, this influence can slippery slide you into its own dangerous territory. Seeking validation can also make you lose your own sense of preservation, like rest, a social life, hobbies, in favor of whatever will bring you positive feedback. In 2021, I basically stopped playing video games unless I streamed them on Twitch because I felt like it was a waste of time when I could be working. You put yourself under dangerous levels of stress just to please others, such as the opinions of strangers online. Cloudy could be very easily compared to Pixar's A Bug's Life. A failed inventor who is shunned by his community, and after a series of mishaps he saves the day and everyone is happy. But while Bug's Life's path to change is rooted in class and fighting oppression, Cloudy's approach is accepting yourself. Flint Lockwood is a scientist who no one understands. Living on a tiny, obscure island under the A of the Atlantic, is figuratively and literally isolated from everyone.
You seriously spend a lot of time alone.
What?
As humans, we naturally don't want to be isolated.
Wear a mask.
We desire to be part of a group and feel accepted. And Flint's desire to make the town a better place with a machine that converts water into food, while having good intentions, is still motivated by that desire to be accepted in the group.
Everyone is going to love this.
The habitual reliance on valuing the opinions of others over yourself begins to outweigh its importance. You stop trusting yourself and your own opinions and instead rely on others for approval. This insecurity may even change your own opinion to reflect on what others think, like Flint ignoring his own instincts based on the negative influences of others.
The food is getting bigger.
And bigger is better.
Bigger is better, right?
There's a problem. I think the food's getting bigger.
I know, it's great. Bigger portion sizes. Everyone loves it.
And I do this too. I read every YouTube comment, I name search myself on Twitter and Google to see what people are saying about me. Negative feedback, whether constructive criticism or just purely spiteful, can absolutely ruin me. Listening to others, especially if they're being helpful, is important, but this addictiveness to what others think can create anxiety and low self-esteem, because if your happiness is dependent on the acceptance of others, then what happens when the others go away? Or worse, when they turn on you? You could be left with nothing. Social media is great for making connections and discovering communities, but an addiction to it can start to replace human connection, made especially worse during lockdown. And not even an authentic human connection, but one that's been put through a kind of filter rather than their true selves, which can manifest insecurities that you're not good enough to compare.
I love you, son.
I know, Dad. You tell me every day.
And that keeps you hooked to these platforms because it's what the machine wants. It's important that Flint's short-lived success is recognized as an accident. Whilst hard work and dedication should be justly recognized, it's not always the case, and sometimes success can just happen out the blue, seemingly and unfairly, at random. Flint tries to take credit as if he fully intended this outcome, but he knows he's lying to himself and adds to his panic to keep the facade up or else lose this newfound popularity and go back to being nothing.
The thing is, I can't wait to show you this hilarious internet video.
Basically, Flint went viral. And to him, this attention brings him value. He's an asset now. People want him, and people will use him. Rebecca Black has spoken out about how the viral success of Friday led to wide ridicule and harassment and intense pressure from agents on how to behave and to lose weight. And she was just 13 years old. She says, I also at the same time felt this need, like I had to do it. I had to make these people happy because they preach to you that's how you're successful. And success is the most important thing. At times, all I could do was cry. I recognize, but I put a lot of hard work into making my video about Who Shot Mr. Burns, but I still couldn't have known it would get over 1 million views. And I feel that pressure to maintain regular uploads, or else I too could lose this newfound audience. I love making these videos, and I'm okay to work hard for something I'm proud of, but I have to learn to not sacrifice my own well-being at the same time. God, when was the last time I had a bath? Flint's machine, aka the was designed for one purpose, but unintentionally became another. And once that resonated with the public in a way that pleased them, that dictated its new direction, like a desire path. For Facebook was originally just for universities, YouTube was meant to be an online dating app, TikTok used to be exclusively just lip sync videos. Friends Reunited, which was meant to be just for getting back in touch with old school friends, led to divorce rates soaring because people are horny. We give our demands to the machine and it obeys, until eventually we are so reliant on it, we obey the machine. It becomes this growing threat of uncontrolled, unrestrained, unregulated technology, all for the cause of pleasing people. Like Flint's machine, the film itself could be seen as an accidental success. Well before 21 Jump Street, the Lego Movie, and their involvement in the Spider-Verse, this was Lord and Miller's directorial debut, and they got fired, and then rehired, and then almost fired again.
Say what?
Because while the film they had was funny and creative, it lacked the emotional story at its heart, and limited by the characters and environments they had already designed by that point because of time and budget restraints, that's when they took the background character from the tackle shop and made him Flint's father. A series of incremental accidents created the emotional root of this film, to the point it feels impossible to imagine it without it. Instead of getting what they wanted, Lord and Miller embraced their limitations and found a creative solution. Even in the film's conclusion, when all hope seems lost, Flint embraces a perceived failure in order to beat the machine. Because you can't be the machine's slave if you validate yourself.
When it rains, you put on a coat.
Words of encouragement can go a long way. When you're feeling down, it's nice to have that positive affirmation.
You're fine. I am? Oh, thank you. How nice.
The improvements to this film's script came from when Lord and Miller opened up and accepted the creative input from their crew. Validation from others is not a bad thing, but self-validation is important too. So even if Flint's father will never quite understand him, if he can find a way to express his love whilst Flint can find a way to be proud of his own accomplishments, that can be enough.
I love my son.
I love you too, Dad.
Cloudy is a wonderful film about overcoming self-doubt to stop hiding who you are and be your true self, because you are valid. Look, I like social media a lot. Making friends, raising awareness, a playground for creativity and expression. But like food that falls from the sky, you can have too much of a good thing. Validation and the opinions of others are also not bad things, but it's about finding that right balance between external and internal validation. So, limit social media, stop comparing yourself to others, and recognize your own accomplishments. And when I can actually figure all that out for myself, I will let you know. So, call it a New Year's resolution. I will not burn myself out. Let's check back in a year's time. Yeah, I failed, but I got good numbers.
Don't understand fishing metaphors.
Special shout out to this month's patrons: Drifter Wolf, Ashley Kingda, Vinny Vex, Ashley McCarthy, Sloan Schoolcraft, Rusty Robot, Mo Al Kisemi, Setsuni Wave, Freyham, Nathan Jawinati, Aaron Ish Chummy, Tom Lemonteeth, Brett Halford, Clem Wemsley, Matthew Smith, Louis Weston, Joe Wood, Jake Pinkerton, Joel the Gay Noodle Jennings, and Mark Cunner. And if you would like to support me, then please consider doing so on Patreon.